Hi guys, it's Chris at Cork and Crown back in my cider shed with some more cider to try. And it's another one from my Craft Con box, the box that just keeps on giving. What is it today, Chris? Good question, I'll tell you. Something a little bit special, champagne method, can't say that though. So let's say traditional method, because it's made in Hampshire and it's from Chalkdown. Chalkdown, this is their 2014 traditional method, so made in the champagne style. So you press all their apples are hand-picked, all from Hampshire, South Downs, I believe. And you press them, you get the juice. You put the juice into a fermenter and they inoculate it. I'm going to guess, well, I don't know what the yeast they use. They're certainly going to use a wine yeast, I would have thought, because they're using sort of eating apples, dessert apples, not cider apples. That's very much part of the style of this. Sort of lighter, more refreshing. I'm kind of starting to think of sort of culinary dessert apples as like white wine grapes and cider apples as red wine grapes, because the major distinction is that the tannic element more than anything, and that's true with red wine grapes and white wine grapes. You know, with the white wine grapes, they get their colour and their tannins from the skins, so that's how you get colour and tannin into wine. These guys, they don't leave much contact with the skin. The skins are light in colour anyway, so it wouldn't imbue a lot of colour. I don't know if there's less tannin in the skin of a white grape, but they just don't sit on the skins anyway. I presume there isn't, actually. So yeah, they're inoculating with a wine yeast. I assume at some point it's a champagne yeast. Whether they start off with a champagne yeast, which you can do, because that's what Turners do with all theirs. Their primary fermentation, or main fermentation in fact, is with a champagne yeast. These could use a wine yeast, and then when they bottle it, inoculate it with a champagne yeast. Maybe it's a champagne yeast all the way through. Don't know. But basically, you make a base wine, then you bottle it, and you dose it with some more sugar and yeast, and you put a crown cap on it, and you let it go through secondary in the bottle, then leave it in the bottle for 18 months sitting on the lees, so like the dead yeast and so forth, which goes through a process of autolysis, and that's when you see getting flavours of brioche, bready brioche character, and that's the main thing that this process gives to the cider, essentially, because champagne yeast is actually very neutral. It just sounds fancy, but it's quite a neutral yeast which just ferments to dry. So actually what's lending more sort of depth to this is that contact with the lees, one would assume. So when I open this, I expect it very light, very fruity, very delicate, but I have like a brioche character. That's what I'm expecting. It's also vintage. Most champagne houses don't, it's non-vintage. They will blend each year to taste, to give the house style, and in vintage years they will with exceptionally good years, then they'll do like just a single vintage, but often it's NV, non-vintage. Yeah, but this is a vintage, so there you go. So anyway, blah blah blah, it's not super cold, it's a bloody hot day. It's going to be bloody hot tomorrow as well. Not super cold, so hopefully it will not blow up in my face, but it might, because it's traditional method, therefore it's going to be super fizzy. That's like an easy super thick bottles, because these can withstand the pressure. Normal wine bottles can't, and they blow up. It wasn't until they developed these sorts of bottles for cider and perry, interestingly enough, that people could start making sparkling drinks on purpose, because otherwise the bottles would just blow up and you get a chain reaction in your cellar and everything would go bang. So I might get covered in delicious cider here. Whoop. No, it's not coming out. I've got the big glass today. There it is. Let's get this cork out and try it. Here we go. Oh yeah, that's coming out. Pop. Quite well behaved in the end, actually. Quite a nice colour to this, actually. More colour than I thought it would have, for sure. Yeah, it looks very pretty, actually. Very pretty indeed. So there you go. You can see those bubbles. Hey, look at that colour. Look at that colour. I'm wondering what varietals they're using. I assume they're not using any cider apples. I assume it's all culinary and dessert. But for culinary and dessert apples, that's a heck of a colour. I mean, straight off, like, if I didn't know, I would say, yep, this has got some cider apples in. So I'd expect some tannin, but I know that they're going for like a lighter, more delicate style of cider. So my gut feeling was that it would be culinary and dessert. Maybe I am wrong. Does it say anything? Let's check the bottle, shall we? Good idea, Chris. Thanks. Chalkdown is a premium cider crafted from specially selected apples grown in the South Downs. Said all that. The cider undergoes a secondary fermentation in bottle and is then left on the lees for at least 30 months before disgorgement, so taking out the lees, freezing it, to remove the yeast. The extra lees contact accentuates the biscuit and brioche character. Basically everything I've said. I hadn't read this label, I swear to God. Character of Chalkdown. It complements the fresh and baked juice flavours to create a drink of real depth and complexity. Perfect as an aperitif, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Doesn't say anything about the yeast and so forth, or the apple varietals, but that's got some colour, hasn't it? It's got some colour. Looks gorgeous, actually, that. Gorgeous. Really like the look of it. Very bright as well. But it's a fining process. That disgorging, you're getting rid of those sort of like the sediment. You're taking it out. You're collecting it in the neck, freezing it, and getting rid of it. So what's left behind should be ping, nice and bright. Right. Brioche. It's there. It's absolutely there. Straight off the bat. Not super strong, but it's definitely there. It's quite a delicate nose, but it's there. And I do like that. The champagne method, for me, brings very little to cider unless you let it sit on the lees and you get that brioche yeasty character. That's the thing that it really brings to the party and makes my mouth water. There is kind of a slightly sweated apple, fresh. The brioche is there. There's sort of a fresh and slightly sweated apple character to it. So on the nose, it's got hints of a culinary, but also hints of cider, sort of cider varietals as well, I want to say. And based on the colour and the smell, I feel like there's more going on than just, you know, your Eastern County style, you know, culinary dessert, cooking apple styles. All right then, let's try this. Has it got any tannin? I don't think it's got any tannin. I don't think it does. So this makes me think it's not using cider apples. But actually, it's a bigger, bolder flavour than I thought. It's got that pastry thing. It's absolutely got that hints of sort of dried fruit, but also very fresh, good acidity, really good acidity. There's a merest hint of some tannin. I don't know if I'm just, I mean, soft tannin, no hard tannin on the back, no leatheriness at all. Good, fresh, almost like lime character. The acidity feels like lemon/lime, but there is a richness to it. There's a pastry element to it. There's like a baked apple tart element to this for sure, but it's quite delicate. This is a nice cider, and it has got the brioche biscuit thing. And without that, it'd be a lot simpler. For the price, for what you pay for something like this, which is still less than a bottle of champagne, for God's sake, you know, by some margin one would expect. But nice nose, rich, ripe apple pastry. It's fresh as well. It's clean, it's gorgeous nose. Fine bubbles, as one would expect. It's not as fizzy as I thought it was going to be, actually. I thought it was going to be much fizzier than that. It's quite delicate bubbles. Yeah, so this is dry. It feels to me that it's got hints of sweated apple to it. It's got the brioche character. It's quite crisp, refreshing. Feels more like a aperitif kind of drink, this, on a hot day, which it is, which it absolutely is. But pretty good, actually. Better than I was expecting. On the eye, it's much more pleasing than I thought it would be. It's got the brioche thing I hope for. Yeah, not bad. What's the ABV? What is it? 8.3, so it's up there. So whatever apples this was made from had good sugar content for sure, but also they'd have been dosing it with sugar to get the fizz, so that's going to bump up the alcohol level slightly as well. So yeah, you know what, not bad. Slightly more acid driven than I would like, but it is rescued by that brioche character, you know, which just gives it another element which does please me, I have to say. So there you go. Chalkdown cider, 2014, extra lees age from Hampshire. Yeah, I think worth trying if you can get hold of it. How's that? I don't sell it. This is just a sample item. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me in my shed on a very hot day. I'm quite sweaty. You'll be glad to know. So yeah, please do join me again. But until then, cheers.